Hello, people around the world. How are you? Are hope you all are great, wonderful. This is Dr. Sanjay Kumar back once again with a great personality, with a charming personality, with a awesome personality from Washington D.C. Her name is Inga. She is a professor. She is a travel owner businesswoman. Let's welcome our guest to our show. Inga, welcome to our show. How are you?
Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjay. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing very well.
Thank you so much. It's also pleasure and privilege for us that you came to our show, share your life journey. You will share life journey, your experiences with us, with our viewers. So thank you so much once again. Inga, would you please introduce yourself to our viewers? Over to you.
Yes, thank you so much. So I am a professor of English. I have taught for many years in the university and also in kindergarten through age 12, or excuse me, through grade 12. So I've taught here in the US for quite some time, teaching people from all around the world, all different cultures and backgrounds, and really working to blend people to create friendships through English language instruction. Um, I am a mother of two children, two teenage children, and I'm also an entrepreneur, so a business owner. I own a small travel business. Everything that I do, I have kind of the common thread in my story is connecting people and cultures around the world to show that through these connections, you know, breaking down barriers, different cultural, religious stereotypes or misunderstanding through the power of education and travel. This is my passion.
Amazing to know about you. Would you please mute your mic so voice cannot broadcast? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, for introducing yourself to our viewers. My first question, would you please share your life journey, life struggle from your birth, from your childhood till you are when you are this is, stage, how you came to this stage, what struggles you face throughout your this life journey, what hurdles you face through your life journey. So please share your life struggle with our viewers. Over to you. Mike, please open the mic.
I'll get used to the mic on and off. You know, all of this online world now, right? We have to get used to all of these things. So yes, you know, so I think everyone is going to have a much different life story depending on where we're coming from, you know, what country we were born in, and all of this. So my life story is already, I will just say, I have already been very, very lucky that I was born here in the United States and was able to have many different opportunities available to me. So I will start by saying I understand that I was born in a country that allowed a lot of opportunities for me as a woman. So before I get into my struggles, right? My struggles were very different from other people's. So my struggles, I would say, just as any other child kind of growing up, trying to figure out where you fit in, who you are. You know, I was very shy as a child. I grew up in a family of a diverse family. So my mother was from Germany and my father is American. So because of that, growing up in the 70s and 80s, that wasn't actually so common here. So even though nowadays there's people living here from all around the world. It's not a big deal. But back then, it was really different. And in some ways, it made, in some ways we felt a little bit maybe like an outsider, a little bit, because we didn't have the standard American upbringing, right? I had a lot of traditions and customs that my mother was so gracious to bring into our lives and our family. So many things from Germany that she brought to us that actually made us a little different than everybody else in our neighborhood. So part of these experiences really resulted in that feeling of where do I fit in, right? Am I German? Am I American? Who am I? But as a result of that, this really opened my eyes at a very young age to the power of differences in cultures and differences in ways of thinking and ways of being, and understanding that we don't all need to be the same, because there's so much beauty all around us in each one of our cultures and backgrounds. So kind of this story, I think eventually I have found my way. I mean, we all still try to figure out where we're going, what our biggest impact is. But I can say that really, as a result of growing up in that way, that really opened my eyes to the profession I'm in now. Also, I'm pursuing my doctorate degree in international education because I believe in that power of connections through education, connecting the world. So this is really a little bit about my background and who I am.
Thank you so much for sharing your background, for sharing your life journey, your life experience to my viewers. Thank you so much. My first question to you, that as you are teaching, you are a teacher, that how you came into teaching, came to as a teacher, when and how you decide to be a teacher, and what was your experience as a teacher, and what is also your experience as a teacher.
So I come from a family of teachers. So my father has his PhD in biology, actually, and he was the headmaster of an all-boys private school. My aunt is a teacher. My cousins are teachers. So kind of in our blood, in a way, there were a lot of teachers. However, also in my blood are a lot of entrepreneurs. So from my mother's side and my family in Germany, I have many, many entrepreneurs and business people who are in my life and in my family. So actually, as I started my education with my bachelor's degree, I actually pursued business. And I have my degree is in international business and philosophy. And I started a consulting business long ago. I'm a certified project manager, all of this, and I did a lot of work in the business field for about 15 years, maybe even 20 years. However, after a while, I began to realize that I needed to make a bigger impact on the world, a bigger impact in terms of people-to-people connections. And I was not getting that anymore from the business world. The connections that I was making in international business were not really the type of impactful, meaningful, and lasting connections that I personally felt were important in my life and to work to leave that type of a legacy. So I went back to school. I got my teaching degree, my master's in, I have my master's degree in teaching English. I'm certified, as I said, in teaching pre-K all the way through 12th grade, as well as experience in higher ed. So I made the switch, and I started about, gosh, I guess 5 years ago now, full time, only teaching English. So when I say 5 years, that doesn't sound very long, but you know, the rest of my career, I've been around for a while. And the rest of my career has been, you know, working and establishing these types of connections. But it was really about 5 years ago that I really took the full jump in, and I left the business world and have been completely 100% into teaching English and connecting the world through international education.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, that how you came into teaching, as you are belong from the teaching family. So teacher runs in your blood, you in your genes, and you become a teacher. Thank you so much. My question to you is that, as you are teaching since last 5 to 6 years, and due to this pandemic season, you are teaching on online. Then what difference you find, that to teach people physically, to teach people online? What is the difference, and how was that experience, and which way is more effective? Over to you.
That's a good question. This is a really debatable topic, because I'll tell you that for years, many people have been teaching online. So, for example, here in the US, for many, many, many years, I've had teaching opportunities to teach students in China online for many years now. So the online teaching is not necessarily new. It's been around for a long time. However, this rapid switch from face-to-face to online, in my opinion, for my student population, being international students, most of them are very far away from their homes and their families. They've left everything behind to come to the US to have a better life. And when COVID hit last March, a year ago, I was teaching at the university in the middle of the semester, and it was like, bam, just with the rest of the world, everything immediately switched online. Now, for that semester, since we had already created this sense of community and family in my classroom, which is very important to me, especially for my international students. It's very, very important to me that they feel welcome and important and needed and really a part of this global family that I have in my classroom with students from all around the world, right? So since COVID hit in the middle of the semester, we had already established that those relationships and that trust. And so the transition was okay. We were able to almost all collectively deal with this COVID thing together. You know, in some ways I was like their mother hen while their families were all at home in their other countries. But we were able to manage really well. Now, continuing on through the fall semester, where, you know, starting without having an opportunity to meet anyone face to face and only being online, I will say, in my opinion, it is a challenge to create the same sense of community and trust and relationships and importance as you do when you're in person. So in other words, now, you know, I have students who they won't turn on their camera. Most of my students don't turn on their camera. So if I'm teaching and I'm just looking at blank names and no faces, it's very difficult, in my opinion, to make that personal connection that I feel is one of the biggest strengths that I bring to my students and my classrooms. So in that way, COVID has been, I find it's been really challenging for me. Instruction-wise, fine, no problem. My students are still doing the work, they're still progressing, but in terms of relationship building, cultural adaptation, feeling like a part of a community here in America, you know, that part is missing. My students are just at home in their apartments, you know, and they're logging on and then they're still at home. They don't have, they're missing that cultural piece. And that's really, really difficult to replicate online. In my opinion, that's very difficult.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You shared that what is the difference between physical learning and online learning. You shared your experience between these. Thank you so much. My next question to you: you are English teacher, being a non-first English language. I have a curiosity to know how to be an effective English speaker. What you need, you can write English well, you can read well, but unfortunately, you have a difficulty to talk, to speak English frequently. So please give us some tips, share with some tips. So it will be good for me, for my viewers. Over to you.
Mm-hmm. This is a common question because people want to know, how do I improve? How do I get better? And I'm going to tell you, even though I'm teaching English, okay, it's important to understand that I also speak and have learned Spanish and German and a few other languages. So even though I'm teaching my own native language, I understand the difficulties in acquiring a new language. So before I give you any advice, I can understand that piece. So the biggest advice, it's the simplest advice, but it's the most effective, is just use it. Use it. If you have 4 modalities, you have reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Okay? Use them. If reading is difficult for you, then read 10 minutes a day. Get a book. I have books here for my students. I mean, anything, read. If speaking is difficult for you, then find a little network or a little group to practice speaking English. If you know, if it's listening, watch movies, surround yourself in English. Writing, you know, you just, so use it. Whatever it is, don't be afraid of it, number 1. Number 2, do not be afraid of not being perfect. That's really, actually, that might even be number 1. Do not be afraid of making mistakes. People sometimes focus so much on making mistakes in grammar or vocabulary that, you know what happens? They don't speak at all then, because they're so worried about the conjugation and is it right or isn't it, that they can't, their thought is gone. So it's important to remember, we understand you, no matter what your grammar is like. And if we don't understand, if I don't understand you, I'm going to ask, we're going to have a little conversation until we can understand. So, you know, you are learning English, you're already ahead. You're speaking, we're doing this interview right now in English. So it's important to be kind to yourself and to understand the skill that you are experiencing right now. You're the one conducting this in English. You have the higher skill in this case than me. And so many times students feel insecure. They feel like, oh, it's not good enough. But instead, if you turn that around in your head and say, hey, I already know Urdu, maybe Punjabi, maybe Pashto, and English, right? Then sometimes we are a little more accepting of our mistakes and maybe feeling a little bit more confident. So this is really my advice, is just surround yourself as much as you can. Try to create your environment in English, right? And don't be afraid of making mistakes, that's all. I work very closely with English teachers in Pakistan, and with there's many English teachers who were studying here at my university on a program through the US Department of State. And so these teachers are some of the best English teachers in Pakistan. And I know as well that they are very, very committed in enhancing the opportunities for their students to speak and to create opportunities for innovative teaching strategies, you know. So just keep going. I'm so proud of all of you. You know, this is why I love what I do so much with teaching international students, because everyone comes to the US with some kind of a dream. Everybody's here for a reason. The people who chose to come here chose to come to the US and not England or Australia or whatever. This was their choice to come here for some reason. It's my job, once they're here, to make sure that they are successful. So each one of you, when I see what you're doing and working to improve your language, if it's here or in Pakistan, right? I'm inspired and proud of all of you very much so.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing tips about how to be effective English speaker. You said that in any area, whether it is reading, whether it is writing, whether it is speaking, you should use it. You should practice it. Practice, and practice makes you more perfect. Thank you so much for sharing such a wonderful tips with us. My next question to you is that what are your opinion about Pakistan before coming to this live interview?
Wow, thank you for asking me that question. You know, nobody's ever asked me that question before. And I'm going to say that I think I've met my first Pakistanis probably, like, really not just in passing, but really developed friendships in about 2017, so maybe 4 years ago. And during that time, over that period, I have learned so much about your beautiful country. I've learned so much about the hearts of the Pakistani people. You know, my network has continued to grow and expand, and I have become more and more touched by the people of Pakistan. That this is why I feel very strongly to give back as I can in Pakistan. I have one very dear friend who is very, very committed not only to teaching English, but also in tree plantation. And so I've supported his efforts to plant trees in Pakistan. And apparently now I even have children at a school in Pakistan who have planted a tree and trees for me in my honor for my birthday. So I have roots in Pakistan. I'm supporting a girls' school and providing computers for them for learning up in the northern area of Pakistan. So also I've created an organization, a network of Pakistani and American English teachers so that we can work to collaborate and share ideas and form stronger friendships, and share teaching methodologies and all of this. So I would not have been this involved in Pakistan if I had not been so moved by the overall sense of welcoming, kindness, acceptance by the Pakistani people. I'm truly, truly amazed and humbled by all of you and your graciousness and what wonderful people you are. And this is what fuels my passion and my commitment to work together alongside with each one of you in Pakistan.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful word to my country, my homeland. Actually, if we hear such beautiful word, such a appreciation for my country people, it create encouragement, it create something inside of excitement, happiness. So thank you so much for such a beautiful word for my country people. Thank you so much. I already took a lot of time of you, but I have one last request. Please give a short message to our viewers so we can end this show. Over to you.
So for your viewers, well, again, I have expressed, and I will one more time, my gratitude to you for everything that you're doing, for your time to connect us and to help spread the message of global connections, right? And for your viewers, I just will give you the same advice I give to my students, which is always, you just keep going. You don't give up. If there is something that you want, something you want to do, if it doesn't exist, then create it. Then create it. It can be as big or as small as it needs to be. It does not need to be magnificent. It just needs to be your passion. Just find what you love. Always search for that. Once you find your passion, you will keep going. You'll keep pursuing. And you'll make such a big difference in the world, not only in the grand global world, but in your world, right? In your own life, in the life of your immediate family, of your neighborhood, of your community. Like, we need people who have passion, and we need people who are living their lives that way, because those are the people who, they make the world a better place when you live from your passion, from your heart to do good. So these are really my little bit of last words for you and for your viewers. And otherwise, I do just want to thank you again so much. I know that this was relative last minute, and I really am very grateful to you and for your time and for taking this time to interview me.
Thank you so much. Really, okay, thank you so much for such beautiful message. That never give up, just keep going on. So thank you so much once again for your valuable time, for your precious time, and you shared a lot of things with us, give tips how to be effective English learner. Thank you so much once again. I feel privileged. I feel honored having you on my show. Thank you so much once again, viewers. Uh, in this show, we have learned English basic things. We learned about journey of Inge, and also in next live show we come with another great personality with learn with new things. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Bye bye. Good night. Thank you so much.